let's talk about Flickering Flame, because this one's pretty interesting. So to understand Flickering Flame, you need to understand Resist Fire Aura. For people who don't know, Resist Fire Aura says 3 cool things. 1, if you have the aura active at any given time, it increases how much fire resistance that you have. 2, if you put hard points into it, so every 2 points that you actually allocate to resist fire increases your maximum resistance by 1. So if you look right now, since I'm at overcap fire resistance and I have 6 points in the skill, I gain 3 maximum resistance. And you can see that right here on the character screen. Now let's keep in mind, the resistance portion of the character screen, oddly enough, is one of the only parts that's ever been honest, except for back in the day where the Anya quest would get removed from your resistances when you died. That got fixed. So technically speaking, the resistances on the line character screen, or the LCS that people like to call it, should be pretty ironclad. It should work. But I have 6 points in resist fire. I don't have the aura active, so my maximum fire resistance is 78. The normal cap for resistance is 75. What some people may not know, because this doesn't typically come up because you don't typically run resist fire aura itself, is that when you have it active, you actually gain 1 maximum resistance per point in it. I'll go ahead and apply my resist fire aura, so my maximum resistance should jump up to 81. Bang, bang, boom, we did it. Congratulations to us. Now let's talk about how Flickering Flame works. When you use this item, you gain a level 6 resist fire aura. So what that means is you should gain the maximum fire resistance of having a level 6 fire aura active. When I put this on, just remember that the item itself also comes along with +5 to maximum fire resistance. So rather than being at 81, we should be at 86 for our final total of fire resistance. I put it on, and there you go. I now have 86 resistance, but what happens if I put more points into my resist fire aura? Well, let's see. I put 1 point in, maximum resistance goes up. I put in another point, maximum resistance goes up again. Max this out, and maximum resistance jumps up to the maximum cap of 95. So this is very interesting. Even though the item itself is only supplying a level 6 aura, it's reading how many hard points we have in it to determine the maximum resistance that it's giving in the aura. So that's not really how it should work, but it's cool that it works that way, right? It's reading how many hard points you have in your skill and then applying it. So if you're using the Flickering Flame, maxing out your resist fire actually gets you the benefit as if you were using the skill actively without needing to. So that's a pretty cool little thing. You could end the video right there and go, oh, cool, I never knew that. Let's talk about a couple other scenarios that are kind of interesting. Just for the quick jump cut, I went and put on enough resistance so that we actually meet the maximum cap resistance so that you can see how this is going to work. But let's talk about what happens when I don't use Holy Fire Aura or the item, and instead I put it onto my Mercenary. If you look, my maximum resistance is now set back to the 75. I'm no longer gaining the benefit of the passive points that I have in resist fire. Now, why is that happening? The Mercenary is using the Flickering Flame. The Mercenary is now the supplier of the resist fire aura. Here's the only problem. The Mercenary doesn't have the skill resist fire. And since we just proved that Flickering Flame is going to check your hard skill points in resist fire to determine what the maximum resistance bonus should be, with our Mercenary not having any skill points in it, it is applying an active Holy Fire Aura that isn't giving any benefit to maximum resistance. Now, while this doesn't really seem intuitive, let me just quickly explain an interaction that would happen with another player. Let's say I was my level 99 Paladin here, and I had my 20 hard points in resist fire. If a level 1 Paladin that had just done the Den of Evil and put a single point into resist fire were to walk up with an active resist fire aura, since none was being supplied previously, it would read their resist fire. And what their resist fire says is +1 to your maximum resistance because it's an active aura. The active aura will always take precedent over the passive aura bonus. So while this looks super weird, you're just not normally running around with another paladin supplying a resist aura in this fashion. But it gets even weirder, and this is the part that, I don't know, man, game states are weird, game reads items weird, etc, etc. Let me just redo my skill points very quickly. So here, I'm only going to have a level 5 resist fire aura that will be 1 less than Flickering Flame. A level 5 resist fire aura, when you activate the aura, should give you +5 to your maximum resistance. but it should only give you 2.5 resistance passively speaking. So if you look right now, I don't have the aura active. I have my 77 maximum resistance because the game can't show a decimal here. When I activate the aura, I jump up to 80 maximum resistance because I'm getting that +5 for the active one. Let me throw on the Flickering Flame. Flickering Flame is adding my skill percentage plus the +5 maximum from the item itself. I'm getting the +5 from my active aura, even though the item should be giving me 6% maximum resistance. It's reading my skill level and only giving me the 5%, and then it's giving me the +5% from the item itself. So even here, I'm getting scammed out of 1% of maximum resistance that the skill level should give me. And it still gets even weirder. Let's put it back onto my mercenary. So here, my mercenary is wearing it. We're not getting any passive bonus. That makes sense. That's exactly what we were expecting. I'm even running my resist fire aura, but because mine is lower level, it's applying hers instead. And because it's applying hers instead and she doesn't have any hard points in it, nobody's getting any increase to their maximum resistance. Even though my skill level says if I'm not running it, I should get 2.5, and if I am running it, I should get 5. Let's swap to a different aura. I'm just gonna swap over to Vigor aura and just check right here. What's that? Go back to resist fire and let's go over to Vigor aura again. For a split second, we are gaining our passive maximum fire resistance from the hard points that we have in the skill. Why is that happening? When you and another person are both applying an aura in this way, in this example, it's going to take the highest level aura and override everything else. We've already established, since it's our mercenary, she can't give us any increase to our maximum resistance. She doesn't have any skill points in resist fire. When I swap to a different aura, the game has to recognize and re-establish the order of operations for auras. Because I'm swapping to a different aura, it's going to, before the game reestablishes that my mercenary's resist fire aura is the one taking priority, I'm going to gain the benefit of my passive. It's a very, very small thing. There's almost no way to abuse it, but it gets even weirder when you spam your own resist fire aura. I put my resist fire aura on. You notice that when I swap to Vigor aura, it reads my passive for just a second. But when I swap to resist fire, since it applies the aura automatically, it resets the establishment of my mercenaries is higher, mine is lower, read hers. But when I have the aura active and I click the hotkey for my aura again, you'll notice that my maximum fire resistance is reading my aura's active maximum fire resistance bonus for like a second, for like parts of a second. And if I sit here and spam this, the character screen at the very least is telling me that I have 80% resistance, and every time that it does the reestablishment of the item priority, you'll see it flicker to 75 for a moment. But technically speaking, if I sat here and did this the entire time, I could technically be benefiting from having my character be read as having 80% resistance as opposed to the 75% resistance that I'll have once Flickering Flame reestablishes itself. I don't know. The game's weird. Keep this in mind. Again, character screen is notorious for lying to us. Our one little shred of hope is that resistances have always seemed to be accurate. So I believe that in these moments where you're able to choose to manipulate what your maximum resistance benefit reading is, it is accurate. I'd have to test it. It would require a lot of the modding of the game. Typically it would be easier in PvP, but you could technically do it in single player. That being said, community members in chat have said that they have tested it. They're sources that I rely on and I believe, and it's that it does work like this. It is actively reading these resistances in these ways where you can manipulate it, and that it isn't just lying to us what the values are. But all in all, just a very, very weird thing. So if you happen to be a paladin and you're using Flickering Flame on a mercenary, and you're the type of person who is maxing out skill points into resist fire for your maximum resistances, just keep in mind that this interaction exists. You are getting scammed out of maximum resistance, so you are technically less tanky than you would assume that you should be. That one's a little bit more cerebral. It's just very weird that it interacts this way. Technically speaking, once you kind of break it all down, it does make sense, just in the worst way possible. But I figured, again, just to validate the people who are out there testing this kind of stuff and being like, hey, there's a bug. It's hard to say if this is quote unquote a bug, but it's definitely not interacting the way that you would assume that it did based off of how things have worked in the past. I hope that people found this interesting or at least helpful to better understand how the game works. And I hope that nobody is taking any hardcore nuts because they're taking 5% more damage than they expect to be. Shoutouts to hardcore players out there. I'm sorry that Flickering Flame is scamming you out of maximum resistance. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.